Welcome Wargamers to the Tower of Power Gaming tutorial on how to play Gate of Nafaraious. This video is going to be the basic phases of the game. I'm your host, the mad scientist Gene Valdez. Looking pretty spiffy if I might add. Pretty much what I'm going to go over is the three basic phases of the game. I'm going to loosely go over combat. I'm not going to go over any special rules in this video. That'll be in a future video. I will also be going over damaging terrain in other videos. This will be a small little series, but we're going to go ahead and dive right in, so stay tuned. This is your Gate of Nafaraious tutorial. Alright, what I'm going to show you first is just some simple movement. If you've played miniature war games, then you should understand the basics of how to move miniatures. So I won't actually have to stay on the step very long. Right here, you have a simple standard unit, which is actually missing one model. And these are featured from the clan of Trevul. These are what you call blood hunters. Standard unit comes with Scarlet Bane. They can be upgraded, but we're not going to worry about that right now. As I said before, there will be other videos on how to do such things. That actually might be the next video I work on, but we're going to get to that later. Blood hunters have a movement of 6 inches. So you just pretty much, as other war games, you measure 6 inches. Always staying behind the measuring tape, ruler, what have you. They have to stay within 4 inches of each other for coherency purposes for the first round. Now you're probably wondering how I came up with the 4-inch coherency rule. Unlike other war games, I implement friendly fire, and I like to use it. So, just to keep everything out of template harm, 4-inch coherency seems to work. It is, if you want to be realistic about it, shouting distance, talking distance. As far as your Archon and Ancient, as you have seen in battle reports, you have Judas Young, which has only been featured in 2 battle reports because people don't like one of his abilities. But I tend to like them. Hell, I created them. Then you have Damien Cage, which normally you see him featured with his Guardian Angel. In this tutorial, I don't really need them. They make their movement, and as I've stated before, you stay behind the measuring tape. Going in front of it, that's a netty no-no. Beside it, and not hitting them, of course, is just all well and good. And that pretty much covers movement to a T. During your action phase, you may move them again. During your attack phase, however, which we'll be getting to the attack phase next, you cannot forego your attack to get another movement, and you cannot use your movement to gain another attack. That is simply why we have an action phase. That way you can get the best bang for your buck on movement, or to be able to just completely obliterate something. So, now that movement has been explained, and if you, like I said, if you are a wargamer, then you are well aware of how the step goes, then I don't need to continue. We can move on to the next step. Okay, now that you've seen movement, I'm going to dive right into combat. We're going to go with range combat first, then we're going to dive into close combat. The basic formula for this, we're going to use the Tizen models up here, which I'm going to actually have them as an upgraded unit as Arcane Assassins. They carry sniper rifles. S2AM sniper rifles to be exact. So, you will go to your trusty Gate of Nafaraious Alpha Test Rulebook, which, by the way, at the end of this month, we will be releasing 100 copies of the first rulebook, the final test. This is what all these Alpha Test games are for. We're actually going to start beta testing these newer rules that I've been implementing. The battle report that you saw just a little bit ago, before this video was filmed, actually features some of those new blah blah blahs, especially with the new rules. I like saying blah blah blahs. S2AM sniper rifles. Now, then you go back here, and you know I should have all this ready, but you know I'm a busy guy, so y'all are gonna have to deal with me reading. It has a 20-inch range, strength 8. It's considered as a mastercrafted weapon, and it grants a +1 to wounding rolls, which we'll get into that in just a minute. So you're going to go to your sniper, measure out 20 inches, and yes, since they're upgraded, they won't have the weapons that are in their hand, which I'm pretty sure when these models come out, there will be a lot of magnetizing going on. But for the sake of this, I didn't magnetize my stuff. I really have a hard enough time trying to make these things. All of them would be in range. So now, here's the formula. You're going to take the range skill of this unit, and for each shot, against the defense of this unit. Seeing as these are standard units, they are going to roll d8s against them. So the range skill on an Arcane Assassin, which, me being the twat that decided not to invest some time into making these lists beforehand, we'll go right back into the rulebook, and on page 46 of the Alpha rulebook, Arcane Assassins are a 5-point upgrade. Increase their attacks by +1, but decrease their close combat skill by -2. So, you go to their standard. They have a range skill of 6, and their number of attacks is 3, so they will get 4 attacks apiece. So instead of rolling all of these dice at once, for the sake of this, I'm only going to roll it against 1. So, 4 attacks, 3 for being the normal unit, 1 for getting the +1 for being Arcane Assassins. So you roll, and if the range skill is a 6 versus their defense of 5, you get a +1 to these dice rolls. So an 8 would hit, and the others, 3, 2, and 2, would fail. Now here comes the part that's going to be a little tricky. Sniper rifle has a strength of 8. Let me make sure. I believe the S2AM has a strength of 8. Strength 8. Against an armor of 3. So you get a +5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to this dice roll. Now, so we make the roll. You get a 3 plus 5 is 8. You subtract their armor from this roll. So now it's an 8, you have a 5. So you have done 5 wounds total, +1 for actually hitting, if that makes sense. So they will have to make 6 saves. This model saves on a 5+. Normal Blood Hunters have 2 wounds. So that's a lot of wounding going on. 8, 6, 6, 4. So that shows you how good my dice rolling is most of the time. So this model right here already has 1 wound. I've rolled 4 out of 6. I must make 2 more saves. 7 and a 6. This model is wounded. Therefore, we indicate it with just whatever token you have available. Now, seeing that it is the Taizen's turn, this model can now react, but it cannot use all of its attacks. It is only allotted 1 attack. The Masuda can extend 12 inches. And as you can see, that is going to hit. So we go back to the trusty book. And once again, like I said, I should have been better prepared, but I'm a busy man. I've been working on a lot of things today. So we go to the Blood Hunters. And if you want to reference this with me, Blood Hunters are on page 53. They have a close combat skill of 6, which is going to go against the defense of 5 against this Arcane Assassin. So I get a +1 to the roll, and I do land a hit. Now I make a wound. Strength 9 weapon, armor 3. Yeah, it's like that. +6 to this roll. There's a 7. +6. So that's 13. Now, you subtract the 3 from the armor, leaving it 14. So, is that right? 16 minus 3, that'd be 13. Sorry. I'm a little retarded. But seriously, back to the business. That's still a lot of saves. 5+. And so far, 3 wounds. I can stop there. This model is removed as a casualty. That explains, in a rough detail, of ranged combat. So now, we'll just say, for the sake of argument, we go to Dragul's turn. These models will move up 6 inches. We'll leave those alone because I want to get into close combat with these later. They will decide to go ahead and move again and just be out of close combat. So what I'm going to do is, not saying that you are allowed to do this, but we're going to say for the sake of this part of it, that they are in base contact. Even in this game, models fall over. It's crazy. Who would have thought? These will in turn get into as close to base contact as they can. Now, here's the part I'm going to have to pull out so you can see. Here is Scarlet Bane, and this is the unit, or part of the close combat she would have been in. This is the part that has to be watched. So I'm going to put Scarlet Bane back here. The Saurian is fighting this Blood Hunter.